Check. Yes, we are live. All right. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you sure?
No.
All right. Let's get this going. Sweet. Check. There we go. All right.
Hey, it's us.
It is us. We are live. I'm just trying to get my shit together over here. All right, well that's going, so we'll just roll with it. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. It's the Bad of the Bone episode right here.
I like it.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Jake.
Welcome to Overcrest. So glad to have you here.
I'm excited for this.
As anybody with the live stream can actually see, we've got Jake's Harley in the background here. He brought
in studio.
He brought it up the freight elevator, which
It was a surprise for you.
It was a surprise, except for you said, "Hey, open the door," and I go, "Okay, I know exactly what's going on."
Well,
now, but yeah, it was a fun surprise to be sure. So, do you remember when I said that cars define who you are?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you know the one thing that defines who someone is even more than a car?
I'm sure you're going to say a motorcycle.
A motorcycle, because a lot of people will buy cars for utility, right? I mean, there's people that
I see what you mean. A car can be used not only as an extension of your personality to say something, but more often than not, it is just for utility.
But motorcycles are almost never for utility. It's almost exclusively a recreational device.
I would agree with that.
All right, so tell me about why you bought your bike.
Okay.
Let's talk about your Harley a little bit.
All right, so here, let me rewind a bit. I started out my two-wheel adventure on a dirt bike back as a kid, out in my parents' property, everything else, and then later I got into vintage mopeds. So I had a fleet of 8 pedal start vintage mopeds at some point, and was a member of the Minnesota Moped group, something. Anyways, Minnesota Moped Rider Group. I know actually a couple listeners are a part of that.
Okay.
And so I was like fixing up these things, and that was really cool, and I had a lot of fun with it. And Nikki was actually into it too. She had an old 70s Puch, which is a German little moped. Very cool. I feel
like that's what I had, because I had a couple of scooters back in the day.
So,
and they look like bicycles,
moped
basically.
guys hate scooters.
Well, it looked like a bicycle.
Then that is a moped.
Okay, well, I had a moped then.
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent. So, and then from there, I was like, I want a little cafe racer, right? And so I had a Suzuki GN 400, which is a single-cylinder Suzuki bike, and I put, the lower bars on it, the Clubman bars, and I did the big, seat fairing in the back, and I made a cafe racer, and that was really cool, and I drove that up to my parents' cabin and all around town. I got my motorcycle license on it. That was awesome. However, I quickly realized that there is a reason. Well, no, I'll wait. I'll wait for that.
Okay.
Okay. So next up then is I bought a used. It was someone's actually ratty stunt bike. It was a Honda CBR 600.
Okay.
That didn't have any of the fairings. It was all crashed apart. So I rebuilt all that, made it great. I made it into a Street Fighter look, right? So that's like a naked bike styling.
Okay.
Right? So it's like a sport bike, but not any fairings. It's all kind of like minimalist. They call that the Street Fighter look. So I had that. That was fun. I rode that around a lot. That was stupid fast. Like you just twist the throttle and you're at 130, and it's like, oops, okay, yep.
That sounds terrifying.
Right. So my wife had me sell that. And then she got, just last year, a Honda Grom.
Right.
Because she missed the mopeds.
So I had a Honda Ruckus when I lived out by Lake Minnetonka, and it was great because I could just drive right over to the grocery store. I could just zip around. Mine would do 37.
Yeah.
I'm light, so it was do like 37.
Okay.
Come on, every mile per hour counts.
No,
when
I know it
when the
does.
top speed is in the 30s.
The Grom full speed tuck, I got it to 63 miles an hour.
Yeah, but that's a real bike.
It is a real
You need
motorcycle. Licensed
What
as
is
a
it?
motorcycle.
Is that 150 cc's?
125.
Okay.
Yep. So Honda Grom, and she loved it. She took her motorcycle test on it, and then she's like, I love doing this. I love riding, but I need something bigger to actually ride, like
Right.
not just around town.
Sure.
So that's when we got the Monster, the Ducati Monster. And that was very reminiscent as far as riding style and everything else of the CBR that I had. Naked bike, still kind of that sport bike
Right.
attitude and riding position. And I always liked kind of more the older style bikes anyway. So what I wanted to build was an old bobber.
Right. And that's a bobber is just basically a really simplified bike, right?
Right. So a bobber though is usually it is based on like an American chassis, like a V-twin, where you're sitting more like this, cruiser. Okay. Like Cafe Racer was to Europe what a bobber is to America. And there's a reason for that, Chris. So back in the day, you modified your bike for the riding and the roads and the style that you had.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had my Cafe Racer and I had my little Street Fighter, it was great in the turns. You attack turns with it, right?
Not so good for
sucks
potholes and
for potholes and riding any distance
'cause there's
whatsoever.
no suspension, right? I mean,
exactly. In light of that, you're hunched over. It's the typical sport bike stereotypical riding
Sure.
style. So then I was like, well, if I'm actually going to enjoy this, because the type of riding I wanted to do was more relaxed and enjoy it. You get to see the scenery, you get to enjoy it and feel the wind and everything else.
Sure.
You want more of a cruiser. Okay.
Okay.
And if you're going to buy a cruiser, anything besides a Harley is trying to be a Harley. That's why
I don't know.
I bought a Harley.
I understand. I would agree. I like your train of thought with that. I like that the history that's behind it, but I still don't like Harley as a brand.
You don't like the people that associate and are stereotypical of Harley owners.
Okay, my turn. All right, so you posted on Instagram. Okay, you said
yeah, there was
there was
some button
fun.
pushings.
That was fun. So you immediately tried to push my buttons with this because
Yeah.
I've been pushing your buttons with it, and I hope you take all this in good fun.
Oh, for sure.
You said it was
Actually, I'm worried our listeners didn't though. Some of them were like, "You guys,
Are you guys okay? So you said classic, iconic design.
Check.
Steeped in tradition and history.
Check.
What history?
1903."
Okay, but here's the thing: is anytime anybody posts cool Harley stuff, it's not within the last like 30 years. There's some awkward, not good Harley time
That's
in
not
modern
the
times.
style I like. However, the AMF years, if you want to get nerdy with Harley history, I actually like the AMF.
AMF is like bowling, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So back in 1970, I think 3, AMF Manufacturing, American Manufacturing something, they actually bought Harley Davidson because they were on the brink of basically bankruptcy.
Right.
And so
And they figured, hey, we can make bowling shoes. We can also make motorcycles.
Right. It didn't fit really, but anyways, so the AMF years though, that's when they had all the funky graphics and had some cool stuff that's now a lot of the newer bikes are going back to that look.
Right.
So anyways, that style.
So when I think of the stupid handlebars,
the ape hangers,
and I think of all the the wheels that are way out in front of the bike.
Yep.
And that
The
was for
baggers.
me that no one ever posts that stuff when they post like, "Oh, I love Harley. Harley's cool." They never really post that stuff. They always post what you posted or what I see when I go on Harley's website, which is some badass dude ripping up a hill in the mud, or some guy in a dirt track, or some guy out in California doing some cool shit, like sitting on a bike with. So there was this period of time where Harley was really, really cool, and then it was really, really weird, and now it's really, really, really appropriated.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
that's
so
accurate.
you say air-cooled engine, check.
Yep.
A Corvair has an air-cooled engine.
That's fine.
It's not.
Well,
It's not
okay.
a. It's
You obviously saw what I was trying to do.
no, because it doesn't make any sense. Just because someone has an air-cooled engine, it doesn't make it cool.
I was trying to make people believe, obviously, I was talking about my 911.
Okay.
Do you get it now?
I get it now. Yeah, sure.
Air-cooled engine. You had that heritage.
So basically, what I did. So I read all of that, and this is exactly what I thought of.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
What is this from?
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
So every time
What
he
is
talks
that from?
It's from Billy Madison.
Oh, okay.
You remember Billy Madison where he had to like go do the game show contest or whatever, and everything? He's just
Vaguely.
that's what I thought of.
Long
when
time since I saw that movie.
So
no, my initial thought I was gonna put that, and I was gonna put a video of the Porsche with the Harley behind it, and I was gonna look like that, but then it's gonna zoom in on the Harley. You're like, yeah, the Porsche. Wait a minute. Oh, it is air cooled.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Does
do that.
have that
so
history.
So it made no sense. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, I was gonna do this last time, but I didn't really have time. And I was like, I want to talk about Harley a little bit.
Okay.
So the first thing I did, obviously, is what did I do? I went to Harley.com.
Sure.
And I started looking at it, and their website gave me a seizure almost immediately. I'm accosted with the visual
have to look at
representation
this
of their
now.
exhaust noise, what their exhaust noise sounds like just hot cuts. I almost had it was seizure inducing.
Because they have the video right there.
They
on
have the video
homepage.
right there. It's like I feel like
Yeah.
I'm just.
And you know
being
what's
like
interesting? You know what they're really pushing?
the live wire.
The live wire. Yeah, their
Yeah,
new
so,
electric bike.
So they say that I'm talking about you have Sportster Iron, right?
Yep, this is the iron.
So some of the things some of the words that they use to describe.
Okay, hold on. Before you even go there, because I agree. Do you know what my color is called?
What?
Rawhide. Yeah.
All right, cowboy. Let's continue. All right. So the Great American Freedom Machine.
Heck yeah.
Simple, righteous.
Oh, it's
bare
righteous.
knuckle style. You don't need a lot to feel like you have it all. It sets the standard for the raw, stripped down, blacked out look, now with fresh new graphics.
There you go.
None of that at all says anything about the bike.
Well, that's because the bike's been the same since 1972.
What is righteous about?
It's fucking righteous, man.
Are you going to back up any of this, or are you just going to?
I like it, and that's
Okay, so when I see people doing the vintage stuff, I think it's cool, but
Right.
this stuff, not so much. The Sportster Iron is the name of your bike, and I just wondered if you need to be in a labor union to own this bike with the name Iron.
Yeah,
it's just,
be an
it's
iron
very,
worker.
So the custom
Yeah.
touches that you can put on the bike.
Oh, I know, right?
When I was scrolling through,
So
here,
when you buy a brand new Harley, they give you the parts catalog. And
Oh,
they
I bet
walk
they
you,
do.
No. I had like a 15-minute meeting with the parts manager where he walked me through. He's like,
I-
everything with the orange label here fits your Sportster here.
yeah, I bet he did.
So it's all about the aftermarket. Well, not even aftermarket. It's Harley specific accessories.
Okay. So
Anyways.
here's some of the things you can get
Yeah.
on your Sportster, and you tell me
Yeah.
if you did any of these. Okay.
I haven't done anything.
Okay. Blacked out look.
Oh, because these are like options.
These
you
are
can
options.
check.
You can do the blacked out look.
I think that's what this is.
Street inspired paint.
I wonder if that's what that is too.
Low seat, slammed suspension.
I don't have the low seat.
Tuck and roll seat inspired by a bobber.
I do actually have the tuck and roll seat.
Bobbers are supposed to be stripped down, simple bikes. and
Right.
This is
That's,
that does not look like a bobber.
no,
Tell me
because
that looks like a
no,
bobber.
because it needs a hardtail and no fender in the rear, and then it'll be a bobber.
9-spoke wheels that are black as night, where the rim meets the rubber, set off by a more contemporary mechanical look machined into the
Yeah, I
spokes.
do not like the machined look
It's-
there. That's
it's awful.
That's my least favorite part of that bike.
It's brutal.
I kind of want to just plastic dip that part at least.
You probably should, because it's drag style handlebar, born at the drag strip.
Yeah.
Slammed black drag style.
Sure, it works for me. I like them.
The bike is
comfy.
specifically aimed towards guys that don't do any of the things that this bike represents. The owners only want to feel like people think that they do those things.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
As far as who they're marketing towards,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, they're trying to. Here's what happened. Harley saw what the aftermarket and what people thought was cool with kind of the blacked out bobber style look of Sportsters as people were modifying them. They go, why don't we just sell a brand new bike that looks like that? So that's
here's-
what they're getting.
Here's the problem. In the 70s and 80s, well, maybe the 60s and the 70s, maybe a little bit the 80s, Harley represented badassedness.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Whatever you had your cut on your back with the club that you were in,
Yeah.
whether you were selling drugs to somebody or stabbing people or raping and
It was
pillaging.
definitely like
or
counterculture.
Big time.
100%.
Big time.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Now, that's not
Now
the
owning a
case.
Harley seems disingenuous, especially when they're ripping off their own history to portray a rebellious brand that's only purchased by dudes that crack open Coors Light when they get home.
What do you have
There's
against
there's-
Coors Light?
What do you Coors Light, Bud Light, whatever crappy?
Yeah, what do you have against that?
It's just crappy beer. You don't like Coors Light. Every
I don't
time you're here, you
mind
buy
a
some
Coors
like
Light.
fancy schmancy beer.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't really like how they're appropriating their previous culture and pretending that they're still the rebellious brand that they once were, because they are unequivocally not.
No, but
There is nothing rebellious
I don't
about a Harley.
disagree at all. But that's their marketing department hard at work.
So
and they're banking on
let's
that.
talk about the sound a little bit.
No, hold on. Before you get there, would it be better then? You're talking about the image of a Harley. I want a cruiser, right? If I had a Polaris, if I had the Victory,
Well, they own Indian. Why don't you get an Indian?
I did look at Indians as well.
That would be so. I mean, I'm going to go into another brand, another bike that I think you should have bought instead.
Which is?
Well, we'll get there. I'm not
Oh.
quite there yet. But I do want to play a clip from a show that I don't watch very much
I know what you're going to say I should have got.
called South Park. I don't know if you've ever heard of that show.
Yes, of
but
course.
this is what almost anyone that doesn't own a Harley, this is what they think.
You guys know that everyone thinks you're total right?
What did you say?
You know, when people like you drive down the streets with your unnecessarily loud motorcycles thinking you're all cool, everyone is actually laughing at you and calling you pathetic. You do realize it, right?
Hey, man, we roll how we roll, and if people are annoyed or intimidated by it, that's too bad for them. Yeah!
Is this like a biker gang?
No, nobody is intimidated, actually. Everyone realizes that people who are so needy for attention they need to dress up and be as loud as possible are you guys and 16-year-old girls. You know,
That little boy just called us like he didn't think we were cool. I mean, wrong. People don't think we're do they? Of course he's wrong. And anyway, nobody except that little freak would ever say something like that to our faces.
Okay.
The sound of the Harley.
Yeah. Well, it's
What is-
iconic, but I
No,
don't have
no!
aftermarket pipes, and I won't.
It's not.
What? It's iconic.
Just
You
because
can't argue
just
that
because
it's
everybody
iconic.
knows what it is doesn't mean it's iconic. It's loud. The only reason people like it is because that's the way that it was, not because it's good, not because it sounds good. That's like saying there was a best-selling album in 1970 on this weird time when everybody was on drugs and it's a horrible song, and now it's still a good song just because it was a good song then. That's terrible. It's not. It doesn't sound good. It never sounded good, and the only reason people like it is because it's loud, and everybody knows when you hear it that it is a Harley. That is it.
An icon. It's iconic.
And it's recognizable.
Yeah.
It's a statement. It is not an icon. For anyone else, Prince is an icon. Even though I don't like Prince, I can look at Prince and go, I don't like Prince, but he is an icon. No matter what, you can say he's a talented musician. He is an icon in the music industry. The Harley sound is awful. It's absolutely...
Regardless, it's iconic.
It sounds like a steak falling down the stairs.
Steak?
Flap, 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 flap,
No, it's
flap.
potato, 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 potato.
Fine. So I just... What do you... It's,
Why are you so upset about it?
Because it's... Everything about it is not understated. It is overstated. From the
Blacked out,
marketing.
Chris. It's
from
blacked
the,
out.
From the marketing to
Uh-huh.
the sound to the clothing to the people. Everything about owning a Harley is pure and utter overstatement. That's the turnoff. That's the problem with modern Harley
'Cause you're
Davidson.
such-
It's all outward facing. It's look at me. I'm loud. Check out my jacket. Check out my shoes. It's everything is look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And though anybody that buys a motorcycle can say, hey, look, there's different reasons people buy them. Obviously, if you're
Right.
riding one, you want people to look at you a little bit. I mean, it's a unique experience. So the bike that I thought you should have bought, and you tell me if you
Triumph.
the BMW R9T Pure It's a $10,000 bike.
Mm-hmm.
It looks amazing, but I wanted to go through some of the taglines that BMW had. So we can compare them with the black as night, righteous, and all the other stuff that Harley has on their website. Some of their taglines were reduced to the essentials, stylish and self-confident with a proven opposed twin engine. All their marketing does is talk about the performance of the bike, what it's like to ride, why it's good. So this is what they say about their bike. The BMW R9T Pure is perfect for everyone who loves the classic roadster design and is looking for a pure motorcycle experience. It is reminiscent of the 70s and 80s era, but its roots go deeper. Even the very first motorcycle from BMW was simple and dynamic. Back then, in 1923, the BMW opposed twin engine was already the heart of the entire concept. Today, the 9T Pure offers you many options to customize your motorcycle. When you can realize your dreams for your bike and for your lifestyle, you will feel its origin, whether you're customizing it or enjoying the thrill of the open throttle. It's no.
I'm glad
I
you
don't
like
have
their
a guy
marketing better.
in leather chaps reaching out of the monitor trying to strangle me as I look at the website. It's just I think that's what most people don't like about Harleys.
Right.
Is they are so in your face, and it just I didn't expect that from you. I mean, I a little bit.
Known you're not a motorcycle guy.
I'm not, but I have good taste. I could have steered you in the right direction, and now it's too late because you already have it. And here it is in the studio, making it 1,000 degrees in here as it radiates heat and radiates loud. It's loud, just like it's there. It's not even on.
Not. It's very subdued. It's got the black paint. By the way, everything's subdued, like you said about this bike, because you're such a soft-spoken, subdued person yourself.
Look at my car. My car is very understated.
And what's mine?
Very overstated. Again.
So why does this surprise you?
I don't know. I guess it really doesn't. I guess it doesn't surprise me, but I just...
You know what?
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that you're now associated with that.
Don't need to be associated with that.
Yes, you are.
Well,
you are,
fine.
whether you like it or not. When you drive that thing down the street, everybody's like, Harley. It's nobody would do that with a guy tooling around on a BMW. So you've purposely placed yourself in that group of the guys where it's the God, do I hate when they drive by my house. They're so freaking loud. I hate it, and so does everyone else. And now you're a part of it. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right.
I don't care.
All right, let's pull up a little bit
And
of news.
with that,
You
know what? Before we talk about that, let's talk about one of our sponsors, Renline. Renline designs a full line of performance parts for European cars, including, of course, Porsche. Whether for the street or the track, their solutions range from interior accessories to full suspension setups, monoball, everything. They're designed and developed at their headquarters right there in Vermont. Renline really strives to create the highest quality equipment that's just as functional as it is beautiful. So be sure to check them out at renline.com and use the code Overcrest to get 5% off your next order along with free shipping.
All right. Do you want to pull up the Overcrest live stream on Facebook and grab the chat out of there? Just
I will.
See if there's anything relevant as we go through this news.
I will.
Because my computer is destroyed.
Yep.
Absolutely destroyed doing the live stream and anything else. All right. So news. We got a couple cool news. It's still trying to load the news on my... So one thing that's been going on is have you seen the prices of the Toyota Supras?
Yes.
I saw one that was for sale for, I think, $80,000, but the reason was something like a rare model or dealer
some
markup.
weird trim level.
No, it wasn't even trim level. It was just some BS reason for them to be able to have their price be so high. So
okay,
my thought is this is why the middleman dealer needs to die.
Yeah, good point.
I mean,
it's only the dealer network that's doing that.
It's only the dealer network. And here's the thing is that one of the reasons why the dealer network existed was so that people could get support for their cars.
Sure.
So you could get parts and you can get everything like that. But you don't need to be able to sell cars to be able to do that. So
true. They should just have their factory or their official
service
shops,
service centers.
Right.
And I think that's what Tesla does, but Tesla's also doing it a little bit wrong.
Okay.
Just because they have there's been a lot of restrictions on getting parts, getting repairs, stuff like that, right? So you can't work on the Teslas. You can't get parts, and they've been really restrictive. And I know that they've been sued a couple of times or attempted to have been sued for that. So we'll see what happens. I think eventually with online car sales. Hey, have you seen what dealers do now to get? Because
What do you mean?
okay, so dealers are now advertising on like Auto Trader, Cars.com, all these different websites. So now you
Right.
see dealer cars there, but they're also competing with you and me for the prices. So if they sold all the cars at, if you ever look up the book price on your car, and there's dealer price, and then there's private party price, and the dealer
Right.
price is always higher.
Yeah.
That's because they need to make fee.
Oh, really?
They're just adding a bunch of fees to
Right, because online, why would you pick the used 2016 whatever that's $5,000 more than the other one that's exactly the same?
Exactly. So anyway, all right. So I finally got the news program back up here. So Porsche announces their carbon offset program for the U.S. Now this is going to be with the hybrid Taycan start type stuff.
Not a hybrid, but it is
The
yeah.
Taycan. So Porsche will soon introduce its first zero-emissions vehicle, the battery-powered Taycan sedan. But in the meantime, the company is launching an initiative in the United States that will allow its customers to reach carbon neutrality. Is that a concern of yours?
Yes, obviously.
The program, known as Porsche Impact, uses an online tool to estimate. I don't think
Have
it
a
has
program
it
to
doesn't-
offset
Yeah,
this.
it doesn't have to exactly be the electric version. Once calculated, that individual is given a link and invited to make a financial contribution to an environmental cause that will help offset their specific carbon footprint. Porsche drivers want it all, and offering an option for greater sustainability is part of creating a superb Porsche experience, said Klaus Zellmer, president and CEO of Porsche Cars North America. Porsche Impact connects our strategies for innovation, mobility, and sustainability with the individual customer. Okay.
So, okay.
Porsche owners can select from one of 4 approved projects to support: forest protection in the United States,
Okay.
hydropower in Vietnam, solar energy in Mexico, and habitat preservation in Zimbabwe. The cost of any given trip using Porsche Impact obviously varies based on vehicle and driving habits. But
Okay.
the guy with the GT2 RS probably not getting a lot of carbon credits. But unless he's some jerk that leaves it in his garage and he never drives
Yeah,
it.
good point. Maybe he does.
But the company estimates the annual cost for a 2019 Cayenne S driven 10,000 miles per year would be $67 and $152. So basically what
Oh,
they're...
so it's not much.
Why is that?
Because the Tesla owner pulls up next to your Porsche and goes, "It's a Porsche. There you are. You don't care about the environment, though, do you?"
donated to Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't really...
I'm carbon neutral.
To show support for its program, Porsche Cars North America has enrolled all of its Porsche Experience Center cars in Porsche Impact, as well as the vehicles in its Porsche Passport subscription fleet, which I don't know what any of that is.
Well, the Passport fleet, remember, that's where you basically...
Oh, rent a car for whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Porsche Impact program is managed by Swiss-based carbon finance consultancy South Pole Consultancy. Porsche Impact has been available to customers in Germany and the UK and Poland since 2018. All right. So
Shane Johnson says, how many Taycans will it take to offset Jake's Harley?
VW and Land Rover did this too, but their programs are suspended. But when I looked this up, so I
Okay.
tried to figure out why Volkswagen's carbon neutrality program is suspended, and all it is a black hole of Dieselgate news.
Oh, I suppose when you're trying to Google this,
You
about
can't find
carbon
anything.
anything.
You can't find anything at all. So
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of circle back because the Taycan is going to be revealed at Frankfurt in early September, so like a month from now, a little
Sure.
less than a month from now. So I wanted to kind of refresh everybody on what that car is because it's been out of the news for quite some time. So it's expected to have 300 miles of range,
Okay.
but that's European range. I guess U.S. range is a little bit different, but we don't have.
Oh,
a-
because the testing cycle is different.
No, not really. It's just they measure things differently in Europe. So the numbers are lower for the range that the
a mile
vehicles
is a
have.
mile, but the way they use their test cycle to determine what the range is,
Or
differs.
however they're driven, or
Right,
whatever the
exactly.
case may be. So they're going to have 300 miles. They're going to have a battery cooling system,
That's cool.
which means you can have sustained performance driving without any of the annoying getting ready to go fast stuff that Tesla
Tesla does,
Where you
yeah.
passive cooling. I don't know if it's just heat sinks on the batteries. Who knows?
you said liquid cooled.
Yeah, but you can still have liquid cooling with just heat sinks. That's what my 911 has, basically, with the oil cooler.
Yeah, I guess.
So they have 605 horsepower.
Wow.
And the best part is they have Porsche Fit and Finish.
Yeah, exactly.
right? So you're
It
not
won't be your Tesla where the door doesn't match.
exactly. So they sold 30,000 of them so far at $90,000 a pop,
Yeah,
which
they'll-
is a Tesla Model S P90D, which is the 90 whatever watts
Yep.
program with the dual motor, is $124,000 with 690 horsepower.
And what range do those have? Do you know off the top
I
of your head?
don't know. It's probably more. It might
Okay.
be a little bit more. The range might be more,
Mhm.
but I mean, we're talking.
But now guess what? We talked about this just earlier.
$35,000, but with the fit and finish of a Porsche
Not
Audi
only that,
product.
you have your dealer network.
You do have the dealer network, but I mean, Tesla has their network too. So
I
it's
guess.
not the end of the world.
But no, there
So
are a
they-
lot of benefits.
So they sold 30,000 of them. So they just to give it perspective, they sold 35,000 911s,
okay.
85,000 in Boxsters. So just think of when you're driving around, and you see Boxsters and the new ones.
Yeah,
around,
you're right. You're going to see that many more of these take-ons.
you're going to see the Taycan around. So
It's
they're
not surprising.
They're training people to build the new electric Porsche, which takes 6 months worth of training to complete. And they've
Wow.
hired around 1,500 people off the floor.
Where are these
so
being
far.
built? Over in Stuttgart?
I'm sure they are. I'm sure. All right. So Tesla has received a cease and desist letter from the U.S. government.
Okay.
And you'll get the point of this story when I get to the are you kidding me part. You'll pick it up.
okay.
So the NHTSA lawyers took issue with an October 7th Tesla blog post that said the Model 3 had achieved the lowest probability of injury of any vehicle the agency has ever tested. And the title of the blog is Model 3 achieves the lowest probability of injury of any vehicle ever tested by the NHTSA.
Let me guess. That wasn't true.
The documents released Tuesday by the legal transparency group Plainsight show whatever. Okay. So the regulator said the claims were inconsistent with its advertising guidelines regarding crash settings and that it would ask the Federal Trade Commission to investigate whether the statements were unfair or deceptive acts.
Right.
From the blog post. This is from Tesla's blog post. This is a paragraph out of it. Many companies try to build cars that perform well in crash tests, and every car company claims their vehicles are safe. But when a crash happens in real life, these test results show that if you are driving a Tesla, you have the best chance of avoiding injury. That's a bold claim.
Okay.
You're basically saying that Tesla is the safest car you could buy.
Right.
NHTSA issued a statement in October that took exception with Tesla's characterization of the agency's safety ratings. The agency said its crash test combined an overall safety rating and that it doesn't rank vehicles that score the same ratings. NHTSA guidelines for use of its test results in advertising warn that using such terms as safest and perfect to describe a particular rating or an overall score are misleading. Now, this is what's kind of funny.
Okay.
The NHTSA issued a similar statement in 2013 when Tesla said that it had Model S. Tesla said that its Model S achieved a vehicle safety score of 5.4 stars.
Wait.
The agency said that it doesn't rate vehicles beyond 5 stars.
That'd be like saying, yeah, well, I got 110% of my last whatever.
Well, you always ask people to give 110%.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
This is not the first time that Tesla has disregarded the guidelines in a manner that may lead to consumer confusion and give Tesla an unfair market advantage. Anyway, so they're adding additional stars that don't exist to their safety ratings.
Well, and is it really that surprising that they're not going to crash as much when they're sitting there at the charging station half the time?
That's pretty much true. They're not going to be on the road at all. I think that it's probably true they are a little bit safer if they're driving themselves and you're not making as many mistakes. But
Right.
You can't just say that it's the safest car ever. You just can't.
Probably not when you're obviously making up data.
So the Golf R is dead.
That's kind of sad.
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. So for 2020, the current Mark 7 Golf will be offered in just one well-equipped grade called the Value Edition, which is
Okay.
who wants to own something called the Value
Yeah, no,
Edition?
See, they need to talk to Harley's marketing department.
Yeah, to buy your Mark 7 Golf, the Righteous Edition.
Yeah.
It will include standard features as who cares. The battery electric e-Golf will come in SE and SEL premium grades, and the sporty Golf GTI will come in S and SE grades. So now you're going to have a Golf GTI S or a Golf GTI SE.
Okay.
Why can't we just have a GTI?
Yeah.
Why do we need different? So now we have Golf GTI, S, SE, and I guess the Golf R is gone, so we don't have to worry about that.
Well, for Mark 7.
Right. The Golf is the high-performance Golf R, which is the automaker confirmed to More Authority, has reached the end of the production in Mark 7, guys. The news of the trim Mark 7 Golf range follows VW July announcement that the car's Sport Wagon and all-track models will be dropped. after 2019.
What are you gonna get?
What do you mean? I have one. I don't need another
Yeah,
one.
but you keep getting new ones every 2 years.
Well, actually, I got an older one.
Yeah, I guess.
It also gives further credibility to a report that made that the Golf lineup here in the U.S. will consist of only the Golf GTI and the Golf R once the Mark 8 Golf is introduced. So that's it. No more Golf, no more e-Golf, no more Golf S, no more SE,
So
no
what's
more
filling that market niche?
They're electric cars.
Yeah, I guess. Huh.
I mean, we're talking 2021.
Yeah.
20, I mean, I guess it's just going to be electric stuff. Or, you know what most people are probably buying?
The Tiguan?
The Tiguan. And basically, the Mark 8 Golf will be revealed in 2020. We won't see it until 2021, but I'm wondering if we're going to see a Tiguan R.
Probably. Didn't
Yeah.
they do a Passat R at one point too?
An R line.
Oh.
I meant like a, because they've got the RS, like the Escape RS or whatever it is, or
Right. Yeah.
whatever Ford is doing with their crossovers. Anyway, so it's not looking good. I mean, hatchbacks are dying.
True.
Why buy one when you can buy a Tiguan?
I don't mind that the R model is stopping for Mark 7 because back in the day, Mark 4, Mark 5, they only did the R at the last year of that chassis designation.
Right.
You could only buy the 2004 Mark 4 R32.
Well, I don't mind that it's going away. Everything goes away like in that way. My problem is that all of a sudden the Golf only is the GTI and the Golf R, which means guess what? Remember we talked a while ago about what is it, 2024, 2025? They're not going to sell combustion engines anymore.
True.
Remember that?
Yeah, so
Okay, so this
they got to make some steps to get
think
there.
about it. What's the period of time that a Mark exists for Volkswagen? 4 years? 3 to 4 years, right? Mark
Yeah,
7,
you're
Mark 8?
talking like a chassis.
Okay, so think about it. 2021,
Mm-hmm.
the car is released.
Yeah.
4 years.
25.
This is the last combustion engine Golf GTI, Golf R that you may be able to buy.
Wow.
They might have a crossover period of whatever's left. Maybe
They'll
we'll
call
get
it
an
the
extra.
Heritage Edition.
Who knows? But
Yeah.
this is it. That's it. It's the last combustion engine GTI.
Wow. That's weird to think of.
It's weird, man. That's it. So then after that, it's going to be, you'll still see a Golf GTI, but it's going to be electric, or it'll be a hybrid, or who knows if anybody even's going to want a Golf GTI at that point anymore. So, all right. So I found an engine for your truck.
Okay.
I want you to click the link. Go ahead and click the link.
Okay, hold on. Let me go down and find it because you had this all blacked off.
So this is a really descriptive ad. The cost for the motor is $800,000. This is the description. 2017 Ferrari LaFerrari engine with 20 miles. Very important. Ferrari will not build no more LaFerrari engine for stock.
That's awesome.
That's the entire ad.
Well,
They will not build no more of them.
yeah, no, they won't.
So you can put that in your truck if we're thinking about swapping motors.
Sure. Yeah, that
These
seems
engines
reasonable.
are 6.3 liters, V12 with 789 horsepower, supplemented by a KERS system with 170 horsepower.
I was
what's
going
gonna-
to joke that like, oh well, I'm sure that'd be great pulling the boat out of the launch, but actually a KERS system
You'd be all
would
set.
be great for towing.
The pictures suck, so I don't know. How do you run this engine? There's no way. You'd have to strip it down completely and run some sort of standalone on it.
Oh yeah,
There's no way that it doesn't come with a harness. It's plus 800,000.
it's ended.
Yeah, I bet Ferrari said you probably can't do this. They ended it. It didn't end with a purchase.
You're right. It didn't sell, did it?
So one thing I was reading, this thing has 13.5 to 1 compression.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it is.
But where's the rest of the car, Jake?
Yeah. Well, it.
Where's the rest
crashed.
of the car? Did this car get stolen? Did someone crash
Oh, you
this
think
car?
it got stripped?
I don't know. Where's the car? These things are so valuable that I imagine if you wreck the car, Ferrari probably would buy it back from you, right?
I have no idea.
I have to imagine that Ferrari doesn't want anybody knowing that someone's wrecked these cars, that
that there's an
PR
engine on eBay.
exactly. That's why I thought it was that it ended.
That is kind of interesting.
All right, so Jay Leno has predicted that kids born today won't be driving a gasoline car at all.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so I got a clip here, and my soundboard diagram is dead, so I'm going to just hit buttons until we get the clip that we want.
I like it.
Nope.
Do you like the electric cars? I know you've said in the past that you're a big fan of Elon Musk and what he's done at Tesla, but what are your thoughts overall about, people going electric, about all society going electric?
Electric is the future. Steam ran everything from 1800 to about 1911. Then the internal combustion took over from 1911 to right about now. And I predict a child born today probably has as much chance of driving in a gas car as people today have been driving a car with a stick shift. They'll still be around, there's just not many of them.
Wow.
I mean, the advantage of electricity, I have a Tesla. I've had it 3 years. I've never done anything. There's no fluids to change. There's nothing. You know, for new technologies to succeed, it can't be equal. It's got to be better. And they've sort of solved the battery problem. You can go 350 to 400 miles on a charge on a lot of electric cars now. There's no maintenance. They're faster than the gas car. So there's almost no reason to have a gas car unless you do it.
The range extender, which is literally like a generator that the dealer will also sell you that goes in the trunk. Every single electric car should have a range extender as an option.
Of course it should, but it won't because that's backwards looking, not forwards looking. It's marketing. You'll never.
Really?
Why would they?
I'm going to sell Tesla range extenders. It's going to be a
What is it going to be?
Generator. I'm going to scratch off the Honda.
How about it this way? He's 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing. So I always I kind of want just for drive miserable and have something to complain about.
I think honestly it would make sense for someone like me, where 90% of the time my driving is just going on the freeway to work and back.
We drive around 15 to 17,000 miles a year on our TDI.
Oh, do you really?
And I was trying to figure out in my head, the TDI is not a fun vehicle. It's just a wagon with a TDI motor. It doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
Why can't that be replaced by an electric car that also doesn't mean anything?
Right. It's an appliance car.
That is an appliance car. Now, here's the thing. We have to be ready to accept that fact. We have to be able, and this is a struggle for me because I don't like all the politics that surround electric cars. I don't like the virtue signaling that surrounds electric cars. But at some point, it's going to be more and more accepted by regular people.
Oh, yeah, for
and
sure.
as it's accepted by more and more regular people, the stigma of look at that guy. People think I'm that guy.
I know how to bring
a Tesla, because I don't want people to think I'm that guy either.
I solved it. I know how to bring the whole episode full circle. That range extender I talked about, in your electric vehicle, it's going to be a Harley V-twin piped out, so you get the iconic sound and all the benefits of an electric car.
So next on the news,
perfect, Chris.
No, it's not. It's
perfect.
They sound so bad, and I was going to pull a clip to play the Harley sound for you, so you could listen to it about how bad it sounds.
Just fire that baby up.
Let's not, because I didn't want to abuse everybody's ears. Because I'm guessing 90% of the people that listen to the podcast don't want to listen to a Harley. So, Honda Accord driver has been busted for towing an enormous stuffed bear.
Okay.
In a move that we normally
hold on. Stuffed bear could mean two things. This is either a taxidermist. Or this is like something he won at the fair.
It is a giant teddy bear.
Okay.
It is
I
a
really
giant
wanted
teddy
it
bear.
to be a taxidermist.
It's a giant teddy bear on a little plastic red crate with a rope attached to the back of the car.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's a Honda Accord. In a move that we normally expect from a Florida man, this is from The Drive, a Massachusetts driver was stopped I can't take credit for that joke. A Massachusetts driver was stopped this week after being spotted towing a stuffed bear on a plastic crate from the back of a Honda. According to our attention, brought to our attention via whoever, public safety officials from the town of Stowe, Massachusetts, are reminding motorists to only tow things that are supposed to be towed. In other words, not stuffed bears haphazardly tied to a rear bumper.
How far was he going? And why is this thing really that big that he has to tow it?
So I think maybe it would fit in the back seat. You guys will have to check the show notes. We've got a picture of the bear there. You can click on the
tweet.
And
if he has rope to haul this trailer, can he just tie it to the roof?
I think. Okay, my thought is, so I called the Stowe Police Department in Massachusetts. I said, excuse me, I have a meteor inquiry. He's like, okay, go ahead. And I said, I'm trying to figure out why. Do we have anything in the notes with this? Why this dude was towing the bear? And he's like, well, our lieutenant is not here. I can't tell you. I'm like, please tell me why the guy who's towing the bear. I need to know why the guy's towing the bear. He's like, I just can't. I can't tell you. which makes I'm like, okay, is it
That
now
makes it even worse. Like,
it's even worse. So was the guy actually driving also wearing a bear costume? Was it like some sort of like crazy rape bear fantasy role playing thing? I don't really understand what's going on. So, but in the tweet they said, remember, if you give your stuffed bear a ride behind your car, he will want to ride on the roof next. Please be smart when driving your car and don't tow things that aren't supposed to be towed. Okay. So it's a bummer that they wouldn't talk to me.
We need to follow up with this.
They couldn't bring any information to bear. It's really too bad. And honestly, if you're going to tow something, you should really tow it with the bare necessities. and I will just move on to the next one because this article is about all I can bear.
I hate you sometimes.
All right, so Lotus has a I'm bearing my heart to you right now, Jake. I'm just getting it all out. All right, Lotus has a new logo, which why do we? It seems.
Is this news?
It is news only because I want to talk about how dumb doing this is.
Okay.
So if you notice that everybody that makes a new logo eventually goes back to the original logo as like a retro throwback, and then they're just there, and that's their new logo.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, a lot of times there is kind of that.
It's like, oh man,
appeal to the vintage throwback, whatever.
Yeah,
sure.
Good design is good design, regardless of when it is. So if you have a design you want to throw back, sometimes people make a design that's too identifying with the era that it was designed in.
For sure.
Especially if you look at just like Burger King, for example. Like if you look at on all their cups now, it's the old logo with the little hamburger.
Yeah, you're right.
Burger King, and then it's the other little hamburger on the bottom, and they're throwing back to that. So Lotus did not do that. They just ruined their logo.
Yeah, it's kind of just terrible.
So this is, I believe this is a Motor Authority article. The new logo shape is very similar to before. And everybody thinks about it. Okay, you got the yellow circle with the green writing. And
it's actually like a green little triangle inside the yellow circle.
And it says ACBC in it, which says the initials of the company's founder, Anthony Colin Bruce Chapman.
Yes, of course.
So they changed that. It used to be this beautiful serif font that was this elegant logo, and they ripped that out and took the serifs off of it. And serifs are like
all the like trim detail as well.
Right. So when you look at a font, the serif is the curvy part that comes off of it. Right. So you have sans serif, which is just like Arial. It's just like regular font. Correct. And then you have, or I think Helvetica is another sans serif font. Or you have a serif font, which is like, it's a little more flair. It's got, and you would expect that out of Lotus, a vintage British car company, to have a little bit of British flair.
Well, do you know why they did this?
Why?
Did you read it?
Yeah, but I'm waiting for you to tell me.
Okay. So, Colin Chapman, of course, his famous saying was to simplify and add lightness. So their designers, quote, tried to simplify and add lightness to our logo.
The introduction of the new logo was made in conjunction. This is another problem, by the way.
What's that?
Was made in conjunction with an announcement that Lotus will be chief sponsor of the newly promoted Premier League soccer team, the Norwich City
Football Club. Did you just say
Club.
Premier?
Yeah, it's the Premier League.
Premier?
I think it's called Premier, and I think that's the way it's said. Maybe our British.
Okay, but are we pronouncing every word in a British accent now?
No, that's just how
it's Premier.
It's a league that's from Britain. It's called the Premier League soccer team.
We don't call it a Porsche. We call it a Porsche because that's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Well, says that's the way they pronounce it in the where the league exists.
All right. Anyways,
the multi-year partnership will see the Norwich City's training facility and academy renamed the Lotus Training Center and the Lotus Academy. So here's what we're going to do. Let's sponsor this football team and let's change our logo to go with it. I don't understand. How does that translate to any... What are we doing?
I don't know.
Lotus is such a heritage-based design. Why are we changing our logo to work with a football team? Now, have you noticed? Soccer is everywhere now.
Well,
I feel like soccer is being shoved in my face like it's some sort of something that needs to be virtue signaled almost. It's everywhere. Not a big fan of soccer. Anyway, we've looked back at the original Lotus Roundel and thought, yeah, you read that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's enough.
Yep.
Lotus ruined their logo. All right. Moving on, Singer is celebrating 10 years.
Oops.
What?
Stephen Connor says, I'm English. Jake is wrong.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Barm.
Blimey.
All right. It's I have these dudes that I played video games with for a long time. Actually, I spent about a third of my life for a year playing video games with Steven and a few of the other
Are
guys.
you proud of that?
I didn't have anything else to do. It was a low, honestly, it was a low motivation time in my life.
Okay.
It was dark. You know, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't know where I was going with my life. It was a dark time for me. But anyway, but I really enjoyed playing with those guys. And a couple of them were from like the Scottish Highlands.
Oh,
and it took me like 4 months to be able to even understand what they were saying. Anyway, so Singer, this is a quote from Rob Dickinson, who's the founder and creator of Singer.
Okay.
Singer began as our own personal philosophy, but we seem to have resonated with something in the world of 21st century design. It's incredibly affirming and humbling to discover how so many of us think as car enthusiasts. The 2019 Monterey Car Week will also see the first Singer ever to go to auction. It's the Singer Mountain View car that was built in 2016, and the auction house, Gooding and Company, expects it will fetch between $800,000 and $1 million.
Wow.
And I don't understand. Aren't these things $400,000 to $600,000? Right?
When you like have it commissioned.
Right? Yes. Aren't they $400,000 to $600,000?
I think so.
Are they that behind?
Yeah, I thought it used to be like 3 something. Actually.
Is this somebody that's like, I want one right now? Are they that behind that someone's willing to pay $200,000?
Is this
more?
not like a special edition one?
I couldn't find anything.
You know, of course, the lightweight design study ones are super high end.
It's not that.
But even like Mulholland, the one they just did, was also kind of more of like a stripped down special thing that Singer did.
I don't know. I couldn't find any. I looked to their website. There's just pictures of it. And it doesn't look like, I mean, obviously every Singer is somewhat special, but I couldn't find anything. And here's another problem. There's only one Mountain View car.
Okay.
That one.
They call that the Mountain View car?
If you look at the underside of the deck lid on this Dick Barber, Bob Garrettson 935, it says made in Mountain View.
Oh, that's cool.
And it is the Mountain View Special. So I think it's a little, I don't really like it. So here's the thing is I'm surprised more of these haven't gotten sold when their owners got tired of them. This is the first one to go to auction in 10 years.
If you buy
crazy.
one for $400,000 and the market's going for $800,000.
So I always thought that people would get tired of these. They would buy it as like ooh, I've got money, I'm going to buy a Singer. And then they would get tired of them and then they would sell them. But it's clearly not the case. I don't know why this one's more special than the other.
This was built in 2016.
There's really nothing remarkable about it.
Not that I can find.
So I don't know if it's one of who knows. Anyway, so do you remember when the Chris Harris film came out for Singer? Do you remember that?
I
film?
don't. No.
Okay,
I've seen
I'll
it
link it in the
since,
show
I
notes.
believe,
It's 17 or 18 minutes long, and all it is him going to the factory, and you can see them building the cars, and it's this wonderful film about why this is special. And then he goes out and he beats the hell out of the thing on Mulholland Drive, drifts it around, and it was, I think it set off Chris Harris's career.
Oh, really?
And I think that it set off Singer's career. That film on Drive, that particular film, I think is what really put them on the map. Anyway, congrats to Singer for still ruining 964s on a daily basis.
You don't like them?
They're fine.
They're
fine. Some guy, I think, I can't remember his name, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, that's it. That's all we got time for, guys. We're at about our time limit. If anybody's listening to live stream, stick around. We'll field a few questions after the episode. Everybody else, head on over to patreon.com/Overcrest, and we will coffee a month, an ice latte and a half, and you can support the show and get tons of exclusive content as well. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes if you so wish. That's about it.
But don't leave a 4-star.
Nah, I prefer 5 or 5.4 stars.
Oh, there we go. I like it.
All right, guys,
With
that's it. We
take
will
care.
talk to you later. Take care. All right, so I'm going to quick surf over to the Overcrest live stream.
I am struggling trying to get a view of all comments. I'm only seeing them as they come in because I think it's live.
Right.
There's 57 comments, and I'm reading some of them as they go.
What do you got?
You think he rants on this? Wait until you see him on a video game. He used to go to sleep and was raging about the same thing 8 hours later when I got up. I liked that one.
Yeah, that's not wrong. That's not wrong.
And that's all I can see right now. If anyone has any questions, we'll wait for
Hold
another
on.
minute.
This is no big deal. This is just live stream shit now. So I'm gonna just go to Facebook, Overcrest, and see if I can find it. Maybe I should
That's
try
where
it.
I am right now.
Well, my phone is locked up or my computer's locked up pretty hard because I'm streaming.
100
this as
comments.
Come on, you can do it. All right. It's still trying to load on my computer. My computer's dead. I need a new one. All right, here we go. 58 comments I see. See, the thing is now you can watch this stuff on Facebook Watch, and it shows up live as people are talking, which is awesome. You got nothing over there?
How many car alarms did Jake set off on his ride into the studio? Not many,
does
because
that
it's
thing set off. You don't. Are you? So here's the thing. Are you going to change it, the exhaust, or are you going to leave it?
I like the factory exhaust. It has that iconic note, but it's not obnoxious.
Do you like the electric cars? You know,
I just set my phone down on the soundboard. That's amazing.
No,
so you're not gonna.
I'm not gonna change that. No.
Okay. Well,
the only thing I would do is maybe get rid of the rear fender so it does look more like that bobber look, and probably get rid of those machined front wheel spoke things situation.
Shane says he's carried a debate on with me for at least 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't see any of the comments, that's too bad. See if I can run over here with it. You know, I should be able to see if I go here. I wonder if they'll show up on my. I use software.
I have set car alarms off with my 911.
Oh, no problem.
My wife asked, "Are we getting a sidecar for the dog?"
Ooh,
I know.
That's
why I was looking at the sidecar at Carson Coffee.
That's actually a really, really good idea. Oh, here we go. I think it loaded. Finally. Oh, I just tried to resize it, so now we're creating problems again. All right. Let's see if we have any questions from people. Seat-inspired paint, blah, blah, blah.
Street-inspired paint is what he meant.
Guy on the left doesn't get it. Okay, this is a long one. All right, guy on the left doesn't get it. That's me. The Harley Davidson does not sell motorcycles. They sell an image and a lifestyle, and the motorcycle is needed as part of that. Sure, posers buy HDs, but posers also buy Porsches, McLarens, Ferraris. That's right.
Agreed.
Look at the heritage of these cars. Their forte was racing. How many people actually race them? He also doesn't understand why the HD has its sound. Yes, it could be changed, but the design of the crankshaft. So I actually talked to somebody that knows an engineer at Harley.
Right.
And they will not change it, regardless if it makes more if it's more reliable, doesn't matter.
No,
if it makes
because
more power,
is.
doesn't matter.
Yes.
And if you want to do a
It
dB
is so
measurement,
iconic.
stock for stock, Indians are louder. Guys on the left has no idea. I've driven sport bikes, Harley Davidsons, and cars for 35 years. You're clueless. BMW sells a different image, period. Remember the Cruiser BMW built? Nobody does because it doesn't have a soul and it failed miserably. See, the thing is that I don't like the image. I mean, I don't think he says that I don't understand that they're trying to sell an image. I think that was my entire point.
You're right.
Is that they were trying to sell an image, and the image that they were trying to sell, I didn't like it.
Right.
I think is my point. Of course, there's posers in every enthusiast anything, right?
Right.
Whether it's a Focus RS, the guy,
pretending to vape, but not really vaping.
Otherwise, I mean, obviously there's dudes driving Ferraris down Beverly Hills that never take the thing out of third gear. I mean, that definitely exists. And just because Harley's doing it doesn't make it so someone else does it. I'm like, oh, well, I'm okay with that just because it's not a Harley. I don't like it when anybody does it. Here's the thing, though. Everything about a Harley is, what did I say? It's overstated. That's the problem. That's the image. That is the issue. Nobody driving around a 911 Carrera T, whatever, or 911T, the new ones, or any other, or let's say a GT3 Touring, any of that stuff. Nobody's annoyed by that. Nobody looks at that car as it drives by and goes, shut up. Nobody does that. No, most people in a 911 or even a Ferrari, of course, there's a few that are going to drive around and rev the crap out of them, right?
Right.
But the guy would do that with an F-150 if he had one. The problem with the Harleys is that it's a constant in your face.
There is the argument.
They sit at the light. You ever been next to a Harley at the light?
So it used to be you had to do that because they're carbureted, right? And so you needed to rev it up a little bit before you slip out the clutch.
Yeah.
And there was also the argument that the loud pipes really are for safety. Loud pipes save lives. And there are times when I wish I was a little bit louder just so people would know that I'm there in the right lane as they're going to merge into me. But I don't subscribe to that. You just need to ride as if you're invisible.
Steven says he owns an iconic Porsche and he's calling Jake a poser. Thoughts? So here's the difference. My car is an iconic Porsche. It's 40-something years old. Your bike is not iconic yet. It's got a long way to go before your bike can become iconic. It hasn't. Your bike in particular hasn't earned anything.
Part of that iconic lineage, though.
Yeah, but comparing my car to it is if I had a brand new 911, I could see the comparison. But
right, agreed. Yeah, Jake Daly's a Hummer truck. Why are you still thinking this is abnormal? Thank you, Shane. Thank you. Yeah, agreed.
How many Taycans will it take? Yeah, we already went through that. Decent, blah blah blah. Steven says the manufacturers will not outprice the dealership online, and the dealer can actually offer better offers than online as they get a bonus off the manufacturer for volume. They can set off the price of the new car against the kickback from the manufacturer. Also, they will give the dealer incentives as the dealer can change its franchise at any time based on the offers. Also, online sales are less than 10% of new car sales. Steven, are you still there? Yeah, he's still here. Hey, so you do a lot of dealer stuff. Have you... I know that you were doing some stuff with some online stores and stuff like that. Amazon's going to be selling cars online only. Do you see a shift to that at any time? Like just from guys going in to buy cars to the virtual showrooms? And there's a delay, so he's going to have to figure it out.
I have to imagine.
Can you imagine?
You're still going to want to test drive a new car, though.
Do you really need to test drive a car that generally it's going to be driving itself most of the time?
True.
So
you're going to probably want to sit in it though.
What's it called? What's it called when you put on the VR goggles and you can see like a lamp? You want to buy a lamp, you could put on the goggles and it shows a lamp. What is that called?
I don't know, but that's cool.
Yeah, so you can
visualize
augmented reality.
Yes.
So why doesn't that exist in your driveway where you put the goggles on and the car is sitting there in your driveway? And you can go and you can walk and you can open the door. Obviously, you're not going to sit in it because you get in and sit and fall down.
No, they're going to have you put a lawn chair in your driveway, and then it's going to
be like someone yanks the chair out from under you and you just get in and try to sit down. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it quits. I think I'm sweating as the radiant heat comes off.
Come on,
this disaster mobile over here. So we're going to give it a rest. And
hey, if we agreed on everything, we wouldn't have a show.
That is absolutely. So how long your wife is buying a different bike.
Yeah.
What did she get?
She got a 2019 Ducati Scrambler.
Okay.
Which is very similar to that BMW you sent.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
What did you think of the BMW I sent?
It's a cool looking bike.
Did you impulse buy this?
Only slightly. Only slightly.
How long was it?
Have you
ever seen the meme with the cat? Where he pulls up the newspaper and he goes, I should buy
a boat.
Was that you? Where you're like, I should buy a motorcycle. And then boom. Like how long was it from the I'm going to buy a motorcycle to Jake has bought a motorcycle? How long was that period of time?
I bought the motorcycle and then thought I should buy a motorcycle. I went into the dealer to test helmet sizes.
Okay.
And I walked out with a helmet, a jacket, and a new Harley.
You bought a jacket?
It came with it.
Does it say Harley on it?
It's embossed, but you can't see it.
On the back? Is it across the whole back?
It's very small and just embossed, so it's okay.
It's okay. All right.
You'll approve. And
okay.
It's got the armor in it, so.
Yeah.
You got to dress for the slide, not the ride, Chris.
I think you need a new helmet.
I just got that helmet. It's right there.
Hold on.
It's a modular helmet. You can take it apart in different situations. It's called the Harley Pilot. It's cool looking.
Here's the problem with this helmet.
What?
It says Harley Davidson on it.
So what? I'll put an Overcrest sticker on it. Is that your problem?
Where?
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Right here?
Yeah, I like it.
I just don't like... Harley is so overly branded. Everything... When you go... How much of the store that you bought your Harley from was
all t-shirts
and boots?
I got
how
two
much
t-shirts
was it actually
for free,
motorcycles?
too. I got 2 t-shirts for free as well.
All right,
I almost brought one for you.
Oh my God, would I ever not wear that? Steven says the millennials want the product and service now. We will see the shift in the next few years, and the shift will be that no one is buying new cars, and they are lease agreements, and you can swap every few years. So what happens to these cars then that got leased out? So if you're leasing, It's becoming harder and harder for people to make money selling the cars.
Right.
So how are they going to be able to make money leasing the cars?
Because they get the asset back after that.
Yeah, but what happens to the car?
It sells it secondhand. It doesn't matter at that point.
If the leases are so cheap, why are you even bothering to buy the car later? You're just what are they going to do with the cars?
Right.
They're just going to throw them away?
No, but
You're
they'll
gonna have a
end
bunch
up
of cars
making
with-
money both on the front end and the back end then.
You're missing my point. They're not. If leasing is $89 a month for these cheap cars, why would you go buy a used one? If they're $125
I think
a month
that market will still exist. And if suddenly the bottom drops out on that, then they will change their model.
Or they'll just crush all the cars and send them away.
Yep, that's not making money for them.
Well, that's probably true. Let's see here. Jane says you need to glue a Fabio wig or maybe a Rod Stewart wig. Blah blah blah. All right, I think that's it. I think I'm done. I think I need to be all done. What do you think?
That's all I can bear.
All right. On that note, hey, we appreciate you guys listening to the live stream, and we'll try and stick around a little bit more after the episodes and talk with you guys. And if you have any questions, hit us up where? On the website, right? You can send us messages on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, there's a contact section. We get that right away.
All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.